everybody. We are back today with Brandy of Brandygirl Astrology. Thank you for being back with me.
So excited to be back. I've missed you.
I missed you too. And I missed doing this with you.
Me too.
And I don't really know it's a missing person chart. I don't necessarily want to call it a crime chart. We are going to be looking at the astrology surrounding the case of the missing person, Sebastian Rogers, the 15-year-old from Hendersonville, Tennessee, went missing on February 26th, on the morning of February 26th, 2024. Last time he was seen by somebody other than family, like verified being seen, was on February 25th, 2024, around 6 p.m. at Texas Roadhouse in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Somebody reached out to me and asked me to look at this. But because this case is current and because this teenager has been missing for almost 4 months. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do a video on this or not, but I feel like this does deserve a video. So thank you for doing this with me. We'll be looking at the charts. We'll be looking at the mapping, because really where he is the most, I mean, the astrology is important too, but where he could be found is the most important thing.
Right.
At this point. Should we go ahead and look at the chart?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me share the screen. Okay, this is the mapping, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Oh my God, that's so stupid.
What's going on over there at Ellie's?
GameStop.
It looks like a party and I wasn't invited.
GameStop. The super stonk people. I'm an ape. I'm clearly an ape here. Okay. Why is that? I'm sorry. That's like stupid. Okay. Let me go back. Let me go back to my like pictures. My God.
What else you got on there?
Yeah, probably a bunch of other shit. Sorry. Okay. Why am I taking pictures of that from Reddit? Like, okay.
That's good.
If anybody is watching, okay, I'll just say this. If anybody's watching this from the Super Stonk subreddit or the GME subreddit, I love you fucking people. You all are my people. Okay, back to the serious topic at hand. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, okay, so this is the chart for when he was last seen. Now, this is kind of an approximate time. This was from, I believe, the server at the restaurant. He had just a little bit of backstory. He had been with his mom pretty much all day on the 25th. From what I understand, there weren't any like issues that day, or any, just like it was just like a normal day, from what I understand. Then I didn't pull the charts for these because they came from her, and not that her word isn't good, but I think it's usually best if you're using times from people outside the family, especially with a missing child or a missing minor. Just because statistically, and I'm not saying that the family is involved, the mom, the dad, stepdad, I'm not saying anybody is involved, but statistically, family does tend to be involved. So I think it's best when you're looking at missing children, if you can use a time that didn't come from a family member, or it comes from like a recording or whatever, it's probably best to go with that.
Kind of a verified time that he was last witnessed to be seen. Yeah.
Yes. Because there are two other times. The other time is around 6:40 p.m. when mom says they got back to the house. And then around 10 p.m. when mom says she last, and I'm not sure if she last heard him in his room or saw him, but last like hearing him at least was at 10 p.m. And then she goes to get him up from school in the morning and he's not there. So I'm not using the 6:40 p.m. chart or the 10 p.m. chart on the 25th, just this one for 6 p.m. at the restaurant, and then 6:20 in the morning on February 26th. What stands out here to you? What do you notice?
Well, with minors, sometimes we look at the 5th house. I'm actually starting with the ascendant because he's 15. I think I would start with ascendant first. Also look at the 5th house ruler, but this is a Virgo ascendant. So Sebastian's going to be represented by the Mercury and Pisces in the 6th house. My first thoughts, Mercury is in a fall in Pisces. So we know he's not positioned well, of course we know he's missing, but yeah, that he's not in a good place. He's in danger. I think maybe not danger, but like,
yeah,
not safe or something like that,
I definitely, yeah, no, I agree with that. There's definitely danger here. I'm just not.
We just don't know what kind.
Yeah, because there is, there's a lot of questions. What happened to him? Was he abducted? I don't personally see abduction markers here.
Mm-hmm.
What was
What
he?
I don't like is sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I'm just thinking that Mercury is so close to the sun, it's combust. So yeah, there's something about at least not being safe.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, there is definitely a safety thing. I'm wondering, or a danger thing. I'm wondering here if, because when I look at this chart, I'm not really seeing abduction markers. I'm not really seeing death markers. But
I'm not seeing death markers.
But I am seeing danger. So I'm wondering, there's also a lot of 6th house.
Oh, a lot of 6th house, because if we want to take the 5th house ruler,
yes,
Saturn's right there too.
It is.
Either way.
With this whole little fuck fest here is, it brings in both, whichever ruler you wanted to use, it brings it into play. And to me, when I look at this chart, this is very like he took off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see 6th house with running away.
Yeah.
Whether intentional or not, or taking off. And let me tell you, it's all these planets are in Pisces, a sign of escaping.
Yes.
Or roaming,
Yes. And I'm wondering here the danger, right? Because there is, like you said, like Mercury and the sun, there is a danger element, but I wonder if we're talking about not him in danger from like someone else, but more like in danger because he's 15 years old. And left and perhaps doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah.
Or isn't prepared, right? But what's interesting about the preparing? I will say this, there is something about this, and because when I was looking at this, I took both, right? I was looking at both rulers, the ascendant and or Mercury and Capricorn Saturn, right? I was looking at both. But this moon in Virgo in the 1st house, Virgo plans for things.
Yeah. It thinks about it, analyzes. Yeah.
Yes. But there's something here with all of this shit in Pisces that doesn't feel particularly well thought out. So I'm wondering if it's something like he had been planning, or some kind of plan, rough plan, or contingency plan, or something. Like just an idea in the back of his mind, like if something happens, if this happens, I go. Or something along those lines. Not super thought out, not like I'm going to leave on this date at this time. Not that kind of plan. But there is something planning about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just lacking something.
Right. No, that's a good point. And then You know, there's something about what's going on in that fifth house too. You got Pluto, you got Mars, you got Venus as well, but the Pluto Mars, again, kind of another thing of like danger popping up, like something's not safe here. But you know, you see fifth house activity as well when there's like risk taking or
Yes, you do.
yeah, so it's like something's planned, but it's not in his best interest, perhaps.
Yeah, it's yes. Yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, not in his best interest, lacking. It's it's lacking.
Let me point this out. I don't know. Do we see a situation where he could have been kind of lured out? Like someone's like, hey, and let me tell you where I'm going with this, because I'm looking at that fifth house. You see the Aquarius energy, which typically rules 11th house in a traditional chart. You have like the friendships or networking. You have Venus there too.
You do.
I'm wondering, I'm just thinking out loud here, but I do wonder if that could be a possibility.
Could be. Could be. I wouldn't rule it out. The whole damn thing is so weird. Like when I first looked at these, I remember having, you know, like when we did Mara Murray's. And we were kind of like, well, it could be this, or it could be this, or it could be this. That's what this one reminds me of.
Yeah.
It's like a very different case, right? But this is what it reminds me of. Like, I'm like, huh. Because I see where you're going with the luring. I see where you're going with the luring. I don't, though, see death.
I don't see death markers. This is not a chart. You know, if this is presented to me, I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm not seeing a death marker. I'm seeing more maybe someone ran away or someone left. And then what happens from there?
Could the luring thing you mentioned, could it even just be could he have just had help?
Possibly, yeah.
Like because we've got all that stuff in Aquarius, right? Friendship. Maybe somebody he met online.
I wondered that, especially with Venus. I don't know why. That's just kind of that Venus and Mars are kind of close together.
They
It
are.
could have been a situation where he was definitely taken advantage of or manipulated or.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
That Neptune in the seventh house. It's like, because, you know, we usually look at seventh house, like if someone's involved, is the perpetrator or maybe what's causing a situation, event, catalyst, whatever.
Yeah.
That Neptune there sure does cloud it up.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Could even be, I'm someone in plain sight, but you're not seeing the connection.
Could be.
If there's someone responsible. Yeah.
Or somebody that's helping in some way or something. Yeah. Yeah. Are there any oh, good.
Oh, yeah, I'm just thinking too, because, you know, the traditional ruler of the seventh house, Pisces, would be Jupiter, which is sitting in that ninth house. So you got Jupiter and you got the ninth house, which is traditionally a Jupiter type energy house. Like, what's up with the ninth house theme here and Jupiter theme? Is there like religion in the family? Is there someone from like another country? Like, what do we know anything like that?
No, not that I'm no, not that I'm not the religious, not that I'm aware of.
Because I'm just taking like the stereotype of Jupiter of ninth house. It's like, okay, sometimes we go to religion, spirituality. Sometimes we go to someone from another country or a faraway place.
What about somebody with ninth house could also be like dogma, right? What about somebody who was
You also
well,
have law.
huh?
You also have like law or court cases sometimes.
Okay. Let's roll with that for a second.
Yeah.
Now I want to be careful how I say this because I might fuck this up. fuck up the fuck up the backstory just a little bit. But my understanding is that okay, so Sebastian lived with his mom and his stepdad. Stepdad was out of town. I believe he was in Memphis or around the Memphis area.
That's within the state, so not far
Yes,
away.
not
Okay.
far away, but a few hours.
Gotcha.
And whereas they were in Hendersonville, he and his mom, which is north of Nashville or south of Nashville. I don't know. I've got the map up. We'll look in just a second. It's right around Nashville.
Nashville-ish. Yes.
Yeah, Nashville-ish. His dad doesn't live with them. I think he lives in the area though. I'm pretty sure. I believe dad, and this would be more like well, you also have the seventh house that comes to the ninth. Dad was, I guess, trying to get custody or something for and like I said, I could be fucking this up, so people can correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe dad was trying to get custody or something with Sebastian. Also stepdad was about to get custody of, or I think was about to get custody of a child of his. There was legal shit going on.
Yeah. And this doesn't mean like someone within that, but it could mean like, here's what's going on in Sebastian's mind and maybe influencing. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. No, yeah. I'm not implying, I'm just to be clear, I'm not implying that, that has any actual bearing other than being on his mind and thinking about it, whatever. And it perhaps if maybe being an influence in some way. Do you want to look at any fixed stars?
Yes.
Which one you want to
I'm
look?
going to take Mercury, 4 degrees Pisces.
Okay. I will take the moon. Let's see.
We have a 3-minute, oh, not 3-minute, 3 degrees, 52 minutes, or 5 degrees, 16 minutes. Gonna be closer, the 5 degrees. Let's start with that. Intellect or intelligent, creative, original, naive, astrology, writing, the public, or dog bites.
Dog bites.
Dog bites. Let's go with the other one just in case it applies. It's 1 degree exactly off. Congenital birth defects, magic, fame, occult, faith, addiction, or undesirable associates.
And both of these, it looks like, are fortunate for Mercury.
Yes.
Okay. Now we have that moon at 22 Virgo, 2252 Virgo in the first house. It's kind of smack between one at 2138 Virgo and one at 2348 Virgo. Kind of right between them. I'd look at both.
Yeah.
The one at 2138 Virgo, criticism, perseverance, control, lack of imagination, honors, undesirable associates, mental illness, happiness turns to despair, disease, natural disasters, catastrophes. And then the one at 2348 Virgo, eye problems, suave manner, with great personal charm, idle and dissipated, dramatic. And that one is fortunate for the moon.
Mm-hmm.
And this would also...
So we got his rulers that are, at least with the fixed stars, in fortunate positions, oddly.
What about that Saturn? Was there one close to that? Yeah, there is. There's
The
one
8-minute or 8 degree 52 minute. good fortune, personal charm, lasting happiness, psychic interest, sensitivity, occult interest, and many friends. That's the second time occult stuff has come up.
Yeah.
In a big start.
And this one is fortunate for Saturn.
Yeah.
All these fortunate stars make me think this was, he could have been lured, he could have been taken advantage of, he could perhaps have an undesirable associate. I wouldn't rule that out, or an undesirable helper or friend. But this seems like the ball is in his court.
It does. I'm going to look at one more thing here.
Okay.
I'm going to look at that 11 degrees Aquarius because Venus will not stop flashing at me. Persecution and even death, but also said to give good fortune. Oh, and danger. It says danger.
Okay. What was it fortunate for? Or did it say?
Mercury and I already forgot. Mars.
Okay. Okay. Should we look at
the thing?
Oh.
Yeah, Mercury is in Pisces, so we're looking at Venus, and it's just strictly getting my attention because it's in that 5th house by the whole Pluto Mars thing going on. But Venus likes Mercury because Mercury's in Venus's exalted sign, and so when you're looking at it, whoever this Venus is, kind of, there's an exaggeration there, right? There's like, this is like, I like what I can do with this person.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. This is the chart for when he was discovered missing. Actually, I'm not sure if this is a chart for when she called 911, the time stamp for that, or when she noticed. Either way, this is the time we're going with. So now we have, I noticed all that stuff in the 6th house, right? That was in the 6th house of the other chart is now right at the ascendant here. Which is interesting. I think it's interesting.
Normally that would imply they're close to home.
Yes, it would.
Or at home.
Yeah,
either or, but
it would.
If we want to take new rulers here, like, okay, new chart, let's kind of see where these rulers are at. We're going to look at Jupiter for traditional ruler of the ascendant in the 2nd house. Like, this is where we can get some abduction stuff in this chart. Neptune right there, the other ruler sitting at home. So that's kind of 2 markers. If we're taking the old ruler from the previous chart and like the modern one from this, they're both saying it's close to home.
Yeah, even though there was like 9th house action in that other chart, when I did the radius I did 2 radiuses. I did one turning it to the 360 degree, numbers, and then I did one just with, regular degrees. But even though there was 9th house activity in that other chart, I don't think he's far either.
Yeah, he seems to be like in the neighborhood or something, or close.
Yeah. I don't think he's, I don't think he's far. I do not think he's far. Or at the time of this, I don't think he was far. I guess it's almost been, 4 months at this point. Right. So this
is just strange because like the more I look at this astrology, I can have my own opinion for what I've seen on the astrology. I will say this. There's definitely hope for him being alive.
Yes, I think so. I think there is. Like, I can't, there is hope. We've got, we've got the moon above the horizon. The sun is so close. I think there is hope here. I'm again not seeing a bunch of death markers for this either.
No, not at all.
I mean, I know there's a lot. I know there's shit in the 12th now, but
let me tell you about that shit in the 12th. This was in the 5th in the last chart,
yeah.
right? And this is where I'm like, did someone lure him out? Or is there like did
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
meet someone? Now it's in the 12th house where you find imprisonment or prisons. Like, I don't want to go like way off the trail here, but like, I'm wondering if he's with someone, he's eventually going to be found and these people are going to be in trouble. Yeah, of course, right?
Well,
Because it's,
I think regardless, like even, and I would not be surprised if somebody was whether they lured him out and now he is somewhere held hostage, or he had help at this point. And you know, it was like a consensual help. At this point, somebody's going to be in fucking trouble.
yeah, because even if it's like, yeah, you can come live with me and we'll
Yeah.
just hide you out, you're still in big trouble.
Yeah, because you're hiding a fucking minor. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, either way, it does. Yes, regardless of which way that goes. And I hope it's. I mean, not that I hope it's the later. I hope it's that they're just somebody
Yeah,
just.
because that means he's alive, he'll be found, you know. But anytime you get like sometimes in these charts, all that Pisces energy, it's like oddball energy, like weird.
Yeah,
Like what are these people thinking? Like
I was gonna say, I feel like they're gonna find him in some weird fucking bizarro place that, and I know that's also like Aquarius too, right? But it's like
yeah.
they're gonna find him. They're gonna find him somewhere where they're gonna be like, "What the fuck were you doing here? Like,
Right.
why the fuck were you here?" Like, yeah,
First have relief. Oh my God, he's fine. And then what the fuck? Like, yeah.
that is what. Yeah, when I saw this, I was like, "Huh, that's something." Like, but it does, with the moon in the seventh house.
Mm-hmm.
This does kind of point towards being on someone else's.
Sure.
Yes, it does.
And what is Virgo? Virgo is like, we kind of talked about the Virgo things, right? But it's also like a service or being of service or
Helping.
helping.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
And it can also be, someone in everyday life or someone that's around.
Yep. Let me see, is there a fixed star at that moon at 28?
There is.
Is there?
Actually, 28 degrees and 54 minutes, just off by 2 minutes here.
Shit, that's fucking close.
Woo! Voyages, educational work, broad knowledge, piety. Fortunate for Saturn and Jupiter, but
Educational work. Huh. Okay.
hmm.
It makes me
So
wonder.
what kind of, did he go to a public school?
Don't know. I was just gonna say, have they checked the school out?
Who's around at school?
Yeah.
What kind of aides, assistants?
Yeah. Yeah, that's where my mind first goes. And that I don't know. If anybody knows the answer to that watching this, comment.
And let me tell you something, that kind of brings us our point, and I'm getting the last chart with the ninth house, higher education. According to horary astrology, you would use a ninth house looking at high school sometimes because it is higher, even though it's still kind of the first school system.
Yeah.
With high school, which he sounds around high school age.
Yeah.
You can take ninth house activity into account. So
What about even it's just a thought. What about somebody with a higher degree that works there?
yeah, a scholar.
Somebody, because I know, yeah. I mean, I had some high school teachers that had like masters and things. I don't know. I mean, I know ninth house can also just be university, but I'm thinking for some reason my mind goes to even more. I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see, but like this brings a lot of hope that
He could be.
Mhm.
I think he can be, and all this stuff. I know sometimes in these charts, like the sixth house can also, like in that other chart with all this stuff in the sixth, it can point towards the person not really being found. Or you know what I mean? But this coming to the first makes me another thing that makes me think that he probably can be.
Yeah, and in the last chart, that moon was in the first, right? And if we were going to take Saturn, it was pretty close to the seventh. I mean, I'm thinking it's very possible to be found. Yeah.
Well, let's look at the mapping.
Let's do it.
I did the mapping from the last scene.
Okay.
Since that was the last time somebody other than, you know what, it just seemed like the best place to.
I'm going to say one more thing as you just flash this chart back. That Uranus in the 9th house too could be science-based.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
The inventor, the science type.
That makes sense. That makes
Just
sense.
another clue. Okay.
Okay. Can we see this okay?
Yes.
You have scribble maps. Now, I'll also say this. I actually did not take the radius from the ascendant. I took it from this, from 16 degrees. I was looking, it was a hard call, but I started having all these fucking circles and I was like, fuck this. I'm just going to take it. I'm just taking it from this because he is a minor. I'm just taking it from this. It really doesn't matter though, because this would widen it anyway. So anything that would fall 12 degrees, right, is still going to be at 16. Same thing if you turn this to 162. That's still going to be within the 286 when turning it to 360 degrees. Okay, so this is the when I extend it out all the way, this is what we're looking at. This is 286 degree radius. And this little circle in here is the 16 degrees. Now, as far as what I looked at, right? When I'm looking at the last scene chart, where the hell did my pictures go? Okay. This area right here, because regardless of what rulership, whether you look at the ascendant ruler or the fucking 5th house ruler, they're both right here. So I looked at, this wedge from 4 degrees to 12 degrees Pisces. That was what stood out to me. So that's what this is right here. Now this, let me also mention this. This is Texas Roadhouse, right? This little circle right here. This is the apartment he went missing from. Look at how close it is to this wedge. Like it's very close. Like, so when you say close to home and stuff, and I was talking about, I mean, it's very close to that wedge.
Yeah.
Now
he's hiding in plain sight, I think.
Now, scribble maps is a pain in the ass, like we've talked about before. So you, so you could extend this out further, right? That wedge. You could. I don't think you necessarily need to, but you could.
Yeah.
And if you extended it out further, you'd be looking at, all the way. Well, fuck, I can't even see it now, but you'd be looking up here, essentially. What is there anywhere that you'd want to is there anywhere you'd want to yeah, fucking scribble map.
I'm just laughing because I know what it's like with scribble maps. Like, it makes me so mad.
It's like you go
I think that's a good radius. I just think he's close to home.
Are there
my theory from what we're seeing is he could be staying somewhere, but it doesn't seem, I'll say it doesn't seem like out of state to me. It seems very much like by the markers here within that wedge.
Are there any other lines that you'd want to?
Maybe the ascendant line. Sometimes when you have a runaway or someone missing that's en route somewhere, that ascendant line can show you the direction. So I believe that would be what, 162 degrees, 162 degrees.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, watch
Maybe. I think the wedge is a good spot though.
Watch me fuck this up. Okay, 162.
Wait, is that Roadhouse or is that the apartment?
That's Roadhouse, which is what we want to take it from.
Right. Okay.
Or what I took everything else from.
Right.
160.
Yeah, it's gonna be right around
there.
So I would say kind of I'm pointing like you can see me. Right around those highways, maybe because they're kind of that line's falling in between 31 East and 386.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's anyone they know or that he knows lives
Along
in
this
area.
line.
Along that line, yep.
Now,
Close. It seems like it's in the same city, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's close.
And this looks much more like suburban or city like. Up here, this shit looks like it's more like rural back roads or something. I don't know. It doesn't look populated. I'm not seeing a bunch of this shit. I'm seeing like
Yeah.
so a lot of places to hide out here, hiding like in the woods or, whatever.
Do you get the sense he's in the elements though? Like with the Virgo moon, it seems so domestic to me.
There is more of a domestic flavor. All that shit being in Pisces does make me wonder if there's water nearby.
True.
Which,
Yeah.
if you were to take this, there is water here, the Cumberland River. I think there was even some lakes up here when I zoomed in before, or river, not lakes, but like rivers and shit. So all that stuff in Pisces does make me wonder water.
Yeah. For
Or
sure.
if any, sometimes he's like, and I don't know, I drove through here recently on my 31-hour car trip. I remember seeing signs for Hendersonville.
Do you?
As we were heading around Nashville. But I'm not sure what it's like over here. I'm wondering if people have like people own any of this land. Like, I don't know if somebody could have put him up on their property. You know what I mean? Like,
And he's living nearby water,
yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least from that chart, right? Not, it has almost been 4 months. Who the fuck knows now, right? I still think this is worth looking at for sure. And even, the ascendant line, I think they're both worth checking out. But we are talking 4 months here, almost 4 months.
Yeah.
And people move around and
things could have changed.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But I still think it's worth looking at.
I do too. At least to start a trail.
Yeah.
To start seeing. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say? I know you got some shit to do. And I'm watching the time. I'm keeping an eye on the time.
No, I mean, yeah, if I were the, family, I would be kind of following the trail here, like I just have a lot of hope that he can be found. I think there's good chances he's alive. I do. I mean, and I don't mean to bring that up, but when someone's been missing so long, there's a question of,
Well, and there's certainly a question here because it's like he is 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
We're not talking about an adult. We're talking about a fucking 15-year-old. His face is on the news. He can't, it's not like he's going to have that much fucking money saved. You know what I mean? He can't do all this that adults can do. Where the hell is he? And like you said, somebody missing almost 4 months, it does beg the question, are they still alive? And I mean,
I think he could be. I think it's likely. I mean, that's me.
I think it is too. I think it's likely, or at the very least, there was not death that happened.
Yeah.
Or intention of death when he left.
Or right. Which, I mean, how many times when we look at these do we get that, right? It's a lot of times it's different scenario. It looks bleak. Yeah. So this is like, I'm feeling real hopeful for this family.
Yeah, I am too. I am too. Well, I guess we will head off, but Brandy, where can you be found?
Thank you. You can find me at brandyburrowastrology.com and Brandy Burrow Astrology on social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And Ellie, I know we're here on your channel, but where else can you be found?
You can find me on my website at saturnseason.com, on Instagram at Saturn Season Astrology, and here on YouTube at Saturn Season Astrology. All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming back and doing this with me. We both hope that he is found safe and sound. Everything is good. That's our hope.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me to discuss this today.
And to the rest of y'all, I will see y'all later.